My name is Morgan Clark, and this might be the beginning of my midlife crisis. I do not know what has inspired me to do this. I used to be a blogger, like a traditional blogger, and I still get tons of compliments on just my Facebook posts and things that I write. People tell me I have beautiful writing, and I agree, but thank you to everyone who says so. But quite frankly, I don't even have time to read books these days. I have to listen to all my books via audio, which sort of makes me feel like a traitor to myself. That's something I never thought I would do, but I digress. So I really no longer have time to write blog posts, and I'll get into that in a second. So I had this thought, I'm just exploding, and ideas are spilling out of me left and right, and I have to have an outlet to share them. And if it's not going to be through writing, which would be my number one choice, then it's going to be in this fashion, using this medium. So we're going to give it a try and see what happens. So that's a little bit about the why. I mean, I guess I'll get a little bit more into that. So I will be turning 40 in, I don't know, less than 3 months. It's right around the corner. So I don't know if I'm having a midlife crisis or an existential crisis or all of the above, some combination. But I just feel like there's something untapped. There's something that I need to dig into a little bit deeper. So, like I said, I'm almost 40. I am married with a beautiful almost 3-year-old toddler and 16-week-old twin girls. So that's also a lot of things contributing to how I'm feeling right now. The girls were born February 20th and one spent 19 days in the NICU and one spent 26 days in the NICU. And honestly, that has had a profound impact on how I view the world and how I view everyday things, how I view myself. Gather myself there, because I'm known to cry pretty easily, so I'm going to try not to do that. Especially with all these hormones raging through my body. Can you blame a girl? But anyway, we reside in Central Kentucky. Probably most of the viewers of this will be in Central Kentucky as well. And we just love it here. It's the horse capital of the world. It's bourbon country. It's, basketball country certain times of the year. And it's just a fantastic place to be. I'm an incredibly type A personality, and case in point, I spent hours this morning setting up all of my social handles and things like that to accompany this YouTube channel rather than filming the content while I had a chance, because then both girls were awake and I was wearing them for a long time. And here I am now pressed for time because I have to go pick up my toddler. When I could have been filming the content and doing all that stuff later when everybody was asleep. So anyway, something I have to teach myself is that perfection is the enemy of progress, right? Progress before perfection. Just do it. That's the only way to start, is just to do it, whatever it is, whatever your goal is. It's the gym, it's weight loss, it's, a new hobby. Just do it. So this is me just doing it, and I'll figure out all that other stuff later. I think I'm also kind of inspired because I've been listening to Be Ready When the Luck Happens by Ina Garten, and she is just such an inspiring human who is the type of personality who gets extremely bored when she's met her goal and kind of stayed in that zone for a little while. She's bored and she's miserable, and she's moving on to something that she never even thought possible, whether it's, writing a cookbook or starting a TV show or renovating an apartment in Paris. Girlfriend figured it out for herself. So I think that's contributing a little bit too. And certainly I think the time that the girls spent in the NICU and just kind of seeing all of the people buzzing around me, really making a huge impact on the world has just, I don't know, it's really opened my eyes to a lot of things. Something changed. I feel like something out of a Wicked lyric, something has changed within me. That's probably not even right. But anyway, it sounds right. So I'm a recovering perfectionist, really trying to work my way through that. So if you're wondering, gosh, Morgan, you had twins 16 weeks ago. You look great. Well, thanks. I had my eyeliner tattooed on about a year ago. Sorry, Mom. Surprise. But also, I want to introduce you guys to a product that helps me get through every other day or every third day whenever I can get around to washing my hair. Kind of another inspiration for this sort of channel and content is just I want to share some of my experiences, some positive things, some things that really help me, whether it's processes or products. I think a lot of people can benefit from, because I found that when I share that kind of content, or when I used to blog that kind of content, it would get a lot of interest from my readers or my followers or my friends or whatever the case may be. So something that, you know, I literally can't live without are these, and I've had multiple, are these hairbrush dryers. This specific one will be linked, but that is the Revlon one something plus. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's fabulous, and it's my third or fourth one. And what happens is, like, it doesn't look like it right now, because here, I'll go off on another tangent. With my first pregnancy, I did not experience hair loss or baby hairs or any of that stuff. With this pregnancy, I've been fortunate, or this postpartum experience, I should say, I've been fortunate not to experience like the baby hair thing again, but I am losing it like crazy. It is just shedding in scary amounts. Like I've never experienced anything like this, but apparently it's really common, and I was lucky to avoid it with my first pregnancy, so thank you. But something that helps me like just get, or almost like blowout, not now, because I did it several hours ago, right? Like when I should have been filming this content, and now it's raining. But something that helps me achieve like blowout quality hair with, like, seriously, one step, are these brushes, which I didn't really believe in. I kind of thought they were hokey, and you know, like my mom had one for years, and I really didn't understand the hype. And then strangely enough, my husband was reading like an Amazon top gift guide type thing 3 or 4 years ago, and got me one. And I was so married to my hairdryer at the time, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna use that. I'm not gonna switch. I love my hairdryer. I love I have my processes, right? Like, game changer. Not even kidding. So what happens is, you know, these little bristles, and it's gross now because I've used it one time, but these little bristles just break down, you know, almost like your hairbrush, but in a more extreme way. They just fold over, they break off, they mat down. These things are not built to last. So obviously this is the Revlon. I have purchased way more expensive models and returned them, because they kind of leave your hair like super flat. And like I said, this was nice and full and lovely earlier, and round, but they leave your hair really flat and just kind of undesirable. This is 7 minutes and my entire head of formerly thick hair, completely dry, completely beautiful, completely smooth, completely blown out, just awesome. So these retail for anywhere between $30 to $60, depending on the newest model or the color that you get. You know, if you're buying it at Ulta or you're buying it online, you know, Walmart, Amazon, doesn't matter. The link that I'll provide is from Amazon. But they travel really well. So if you're worried, you know, about doing any more damage to them than you already will be, you can disconnect this part and make it a little bit more compact for travel. Mine just hangs in my bathroom. It's just really easy to maneuver. It's lightweight, so it doesn't like hurt your arm when you're using it, which is awesome. And so that kind of brings me to one of the things I wanted to share with you. It's a hot tip or a hack or whatever. Every time you purchase a product, register it. If there is a registration option available, register it. Doesn't matter if it's a Ninja pressure cooker or a Revlon hairdryer, or I'm having a hard time coming up with another example right now, a pair of headphones, you know, whatever it is, register it, because it is 2025. Things are built to break, and they will break, and they will often break while they are still under warranty, however limited that warranty may be. Somehow this warranty is 48 months, which is nuts, because these things barely last me a year. So that, right, like that kind of sounds like a negative, like maybe I'm doing a bad job of selling it. But for $30 to $60, I can afford a new hair tool every year. However, I don't have to when I register it. They will send me a new one for free. This is the one I received earlier this week after sending pictures, model numbers, cutting the cord, and contacting customer service with all that information for the old one. So brand new, used it one time, and I just love it. So I've been able to cash in on these kind of registration things with lots of different products. It's such a simple step. Revlon's in particular is really bad, because on the packaging they send you, it says, go to revlonhairtools.com/registration. And that is a broken link. That link does not work. There is nothing at that link. So then on the website, you know, when you can navigate to a different area that says product registration, they give you a 1-800 number to call, which seems really counterintuitive and clunky and extra. I'm not sure why. That seems like the better option to them than maintaining a website, but whatever. And it's all like linked to your email. So as soon as you do it, like you get the confirmation email, and they always have you on file, and they know everything about your products and things like that. So I just strongly encourage you to register whatever it is that you're purchasing. And it's there for a reason, you know? They probably don't anticipate a lot of people doing it, but when you do it, it works in your favor. That's really all I had to talk about in my first video. I spent a decent amount of time, not excessive, kind of looking at what's the best platform to post this sort of content on, what is the best methodology, what is the best orientation of your video, what are the various limits. I'm just gonna post it everywhere. It's gonna be too long for some of those platforms, so I'm gonna teach myself to edit video. I guess I should mention, maybe this would be a good time to mention, I am a marketer, not a content marketer, not a social media marketer, but an aging elder millennial marketer for a fabulous boutique company based in Holland, Michigan, and we work primarily in the hospitality space, but we've branched out into many other industries and vertical markets now. So shout out to Maple Tree Marketing, because you guys are the best, and I'm super happy to be a part of the team. And I guess it bears mentioning that, you know, I mentioned my twins were born 16 weeks ago and I'm still on maternity leave. And if that doesn't speak to the heart and the soul of a company, I don't know what does. It's really interesting. My boss, our founder, has twins, and the woman who was covering my maternity leave has twins. So the graciousness with which they have extended this time to me, because I kind of felt like I had some of the time stolen from me by the NICU. Not kind of, I absolutely felt like I had a month of my maternity leave stolen from me by the NICU. Nobody's fault. I wasn't gonna get into this, but maybe I will just for the sake of like a little bit of context. When my babies, I delivered them at 34 weeks and 6 days. And when they were born, 5 pounds, 4 ounces each, they're only 10 grams apart, truly identical, and also supposedly identical, but we'll see. That's what the blood work says. I'm not so sure yet. They both had bowel perforations. So baby A had a bowel perforation at just under 24 hours old, and baby B had a bowel perforation just a couple hours after baby A. So they both went into immediate surgery. They came home from the hospital after 19 days and 26 days respectively in the NICU with ostomy bags. So instantly our dining room table became an operating room. I have another video I might post with that content on it. It's really eye-opening to kind of see what that looks like when you're managing it in your own home and you're not a skilled professional and you have a traumatized poor little patient who doesn't understand why this keeps happening. Because when they first came home, we could keep an ostomy bag on for like 4 or 5 days. But then as they grew and got fatter and chubbier and their little bellies got rounder, then we had to change them like daily, sometimes a couple times a day. And it was miserable for those poor little girls. So anyway, I digress again. Baby B also has a large VSD, ventricular septal defect, or a hole in her heart. That is not like the one that a lot of babies have where they can like go in under your armpit or something and fix it that way. When her surgery comes around, she'll be cut open heart surgery. So their ostomy reversal surgeries were on April 16th. So doing the math there, they were only home about a month with the ostomy bags, which was great. Baby A came home after 2 nights and baby B came home after 6 nights. And so there again, I felt like I kind of lost some time with them. But I'll tell you what, I've never been so happy to see a poopy diaper in my entire life. Like, give me all the poopy diapers, take the ostomy bags. Like, that process was just, it became systematic and it became, hesitate to say manageable because it was miserable, but I would rather have a poopy diaper any day. Those poor kids. I mean, they'll forget it. Like, they've already forgotten it. They don't know. But I am traumatized. My husband is traumatized for life. Like, we will never forget what that time was like. And you know, as I continue to just kind of like marinate in my reasoning for why do I think people might want to hear what I have to say about anything, is just maybe to say, and I'm sure, you know, if there are subsequent videos and posts, like I'll get into this a little bit more, but like, if we can do it, anybody can do it. If we can survive it, anybody can survive it. Like, I didn't have this constitution going into this. I didn't have any expectation of medically complex infants and what that looked like and the impact on your family. And oh, by the way, we also have an almost 3-year-old, and it's a lot. It's a lot all the time. It's a lot even when they're healthy. So baby B requires lots of care still. With the VSD, she labors to breathe when she's eating, so she fatigues really easily, so she can't finish bottles. And for that reason, she came home from the ostomy reversal with a feeding tube. So here we go. We're learning a new medical process. We're managing more equipment. We're managing more things. And she's also on a litany of medications, different diuretics and different things like that. So she started to catch up with her twin. As of today, baby A is, I don't know, probably just over 13 pounds. And she's probably just over 11 pounds based on what she was the last time we went to the doctor. So this maternity leave has been spent just cardio appointments, feeding therapy. She has some kind of aversion to feeding. So now we're going to speech therapy, I should say, and meeting with a feeding therapist to kind of reteach her how to eat, but also how to overcome those aversions and get her eating. So I really hate the fact that she has to be on that feeding tube, but it has been like the sole contributor to her continued growth. Otherwise, she just would be failing to thrive, which is devastating. Okay. We also have, to complete our family, we have like the cutest, sweetest dogs in the entire world, Boone and Belle. Boone is a Border Collie Beagle mix and super overweight and about 7 years old and super, super cute. And then Belle is my Pit Bull Boxer mix, who is 5 years old. And when baby A came home from the NICU the first time, we had both of them at home. But it was pretty apparent with the element of the feeding tube, ostomy bags, that it was going to be an absolute like circus. It already was a circus. So I have a wonderful and gracious aunt who offered to take them with no end in sight. Just let me know when they can come back home. I'll keep them until then. So they have been with her ever since, and I have missed them every single day. But now we've got the feeding tube, we've got like a mobile IV that's moving around, and every time, here's another fun thing, every time the feeding tube comes out, and it's an NG tube, not an implanted, like a surgically implanted G tube. So every time the feeding tube comes out of baby B's nose, if it's between the hours of 7 and 5, Monday through Friday, we can go to a sedation clinic. She doesn't have to be sedated, but that's just where you go, like in the hospital, and have it replaced. But if it happens anytime outside of those business hours or on weekends, we have to go to the ER. So that's a great idea. Let's take a medically complex baby to the ER full of germs and God knows what. We're just not going to do that. So just the added risk of having the dogs here to like, if a nail or a claw or like someone gets startled and anything, just so many things can happen without them in the mix. It's just even more potential disaster with them in the mix. So they complete our family, but they have been missing from our lives for a couple months now, and we hate that. So yeah, it has been such an eye-opening journey being a mother to not just twins, but medically complex twins. I feel like I have a nursing degree. I have so many new skills and so many new acronyms and so many new understandings of medical interactions and dosing and fortified high calorie formula and all of the things. But it's been a journey, and one which we would not have been able to undertake without copious amounts of help from our village, like copious. Impossible. Couldn't have done it. So we're very, very very, very blessed. And not a day goes by that I have like a woe is me kind of thing, because everybody's walking a walk that we may know nothing about ever, like, you know, just because I choose to share it. You know, someone else may not. So we're super, super blessed. We're blessed to live in a time when fixes are possible and remedies are available and therapies are an option, you know, all the things. And neither one of them would have survived several decades ago, maybe even less. So we're fortunate in that way. We're fortunate for our own health and our ability to be caretakers, and our fortitude and our willingness to do so. You know, I wouldn't consider either of us patient people, probably quite the opposite. My husband and I, not super patient people. But we love them like endlessly. So it really, like, when there was an option to leave them in the NICU with ostomy bags for an extra month or bring them home, there was no question about what we were going to do. We were going to become at-home nurses, period. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we will do until, you know, people ask us all the time, when does she get to come off it? We don't know. We keep going to these cardio appointments, and we will monthly, and we keep being told, like, you know, there's still a 95% chance. Now there's a 90% chance, you know, that the hole will not close on its own and will require surgery. But the heart is doing this self-healing type thing where it's like sucking the tissue around it into the hole, not in a negative way, and effectively like closing it. So I think the only maybe remaining issue, and here I am speaking about medical things that I definitely don't understand, is that it's like putting your thumb over a garden hose. So you'd still have like blood spewing out under pressure, perhaps potentially, unless they go in and they do this patch, which would just go over the tissue, and then the tissue would kind of grow into it and meld together over time once that process takes place. But because she's growing on the feeding tube, so see, it's a catch-22. She's growing on the feeding tube. She's not going to come off the feeding tube, because one of those kind of failure to thrive things would be like the inability to gain weight. So she's gaining weight. So they're like, okay, well, great. You know, just keep kicking the can down the road. She doesn't need that surgery. But she still very likely will need that surgery. So that kind of makes other things tough too. Like, we can't really plan travel because she needs to be near the hospital, so that she can get that feeding tube replaced at any time, or if there's any kind of complication, like they're intimately familiar with her case. You know, it makes other kind of planning different, you know, like what can we do, when can we do it based on the heart surgery. You know, it's not like, it's never going to be emergent. It's going to be more or less elective. Like, one of these appointments, we're going to go in and they're going to be like, okay, we haven't seen change in X number of visits or X number of months. Now's the time. Like, she's big enough, or the problem's bad enough, kind of thing. And so everything's just like a wait and see situation, which can be really frustrating, but obviously there's nothing she can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. They're not going to cut into her unnecessarily, nor would I want them to. So, you know, we're also super fortunate in that our local hospital has like a world-class NICU, but also a congenital clinic that partners with other regional hospitals of note. And they have these, I think, well, I don't remember what they call them, maybe summits, or these big meetings, round tables, I guess, where they review all these cases through multiple levels and multiple chains of command to decide, like, okay, now's the time. So that's kind of like where she is with that journey. So I don't know when she's coming off the feeding tube, or if she even will, because she can't finish bottles on her own. I think psychologically she knows her belly is getting full and she doesn't have to work hard to do it. So, you know, she's not going to do it. So there's that. So I don't know when it'll come out, but they're both growing and they're both thriving in their current states as much as they can. And our almost 3-year-old is in camp at her school this summer every week except the week of July 4th from 8 to 5, which is awesome. So that kind of frees us up a little bit to do more of these appointments and more of these things that we really need to do unencumbered by the additional responsibility of her. She's been pretty tolerant of them, like, invading, I guess you could say, her world and her life and her home. She was very indifferent to them at first. Super, super didn't want to talk about them, didn't want to be asked about them, didn't want to interact with them unless they were crying. Then she really wanted to play like the comforter role. But what's interesting is as little as she wants to be a part of their life or have them be part of hers, she has taken on like a super, super active interest in like being a mama to her little baby dolls, which I think is something that probably happens organically when little girls reach this age. I don't know, because she was my first child. But now she mimics literally everything we do with the girls. She's swaddling, she's doing bottles, she's rocking, she's shushing, she's changing their clothes for nighttime. She's, you know, all the things. And she's super cute, but also into everything and also very rotten. So, very sweet, but very rotten. So yeah, summer around here. I mean, life just looks very different, and I expected it to, and I wanted it to. But it just looks very different than it used to. We're just taking it like one day at a time. In fact, a very wise friend of mine, who told me when I was kind of struggling with some of these things earlier in maternity leave, said 5 minutes at a time. You know, you can only do things, plan things, take things, absorb things 5 minutes at a time. And I have really tried to live my life by that like mantra and that low bar, like 5 minutes at a time. Just get through the next 5 minutes, then get through the next 5 minutes, then get through the next 5 minutes. And I think that's probably true of a lot of, you know, parental, like, how do I keep my sanity? You know, when you're both working parents, you have multiple children in the house, but man, when you have twins, like, it is a different world. It is a different world. I'll tell you one more thing that we're really, really fortunate to have. And maybe this is hot tip number 2, life hack number 2. If you come home from the hospital with a medically complex infant, there's a good chance your insurance will pay for a nurse for in-home health. You will qualify for X number of hours per week, broken up however you see fit. We really wanted our sleep back. Who doesn't? So when we were working with an agency to recruit a nurse, they specifically looked for nighttime for us, overnight shifts, and it took them about 6 weeks. The girls were home from the ostomy reversals, and the feeding tube was already a thing. I think she's been with us about a month already, which is hard to believe, but she is with us. She's fabulous. She's with us from 11 to 8, Sunday through Thursday night. So all of the nights before work day, which is awesome. So that means we don't get any sleep on weekends, but that's okay, because that's another thing that looks really different these days. Weekends are just another day, and they're completely chaotic because our toddler is not in school or camp. So I had no idea that was a thing. I had no idea private duty nursing. I mean, you know, like you hear about it, I guess, sometimes, like when you have aging parents and they're being cared for in the home kind of thing. But I had no idea that like situations like ours qualified for private duty nursing, or that people would even want to do overnight shifts. Like, I guess there's a job out there for everyone. There's a shift out there for everyone. Everyone has a different situation. It's been super awesome. So she can administer medication. She takes vitals. She does the feeding tube. There's like nothing she doesn't do. And both girls qualified, which was awesome. I'm not sure how it would work if only baby B qualified. That would be weird. But both girls qualified. So for as long as they do, we will have her. And that's just been the biggest blessing in learning, a big takeaway from this whole process. I could go like on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And I really didn't intend for this first video to even be about the twins or motherhood or anything like that. I just really, you know, in fact, I had like a little agenda here because that's one of the things I read online you should do so you don't ramble, is to have a little agenda of what you wanted to talk about. And I did, and I've exceeded that now by almost 20 minutes. So I'm going to wrap it up, but major takeaways, get your eyeliner tattooed on if you want to feel instantly put together every day. And apparently you only have to touch it up like every 4 years. So hashtag worth it. Do we say hashtag anymore? I don't know. I'm an elder millennial. Register your products and buy this one, because this one, 7 minutes from wet, drenched to beautiful blowout. I'll try to do a good job of filming my content next time with a fresher blowout. And yeah, so just join me on my midlife crisis journey. And you know what, speaking of hair, I've noticed a lot of grays creeping in some previously ungray places since having these twins. So a visit will be due to my hairstylist soon. Thanks for listening. Appreciate y'all.